Let's take a look at bonding. And today we're going to focus on being able to draw the Lewis structure for ionic compounds. Now, you got it if you can do three things. You can use the periodic table to identify the number of valence electrons an atom has. You can identify the correct charge on an ion, and you can balance charges. So let's start off by asking ourselves, what are ionic compounds? So ionic compounds are compounds made by atoms transferring electrons between themselves. Ionic bonds form by the transfer of electrons, and these typically form between a metal and a nonmetal. This is because metals want to give away all of their valence electrons, while nonmetals want to accept electrons until they have an octet. Now, what we have to understand is that when atoms give and accept electrons, they actually become ions with an electrical charge. And this is where that word ionic bonding comes from. And these ions of opposite charges attract each other, and that is the ionic bond. So let's take a look at what ions are. So simply put, ions are atoms that have less or more electrons than they typically do in their normal state. For an ion, we're going to see that it includes some sort of symbol, either a positive or a negative number next to the symbol to show how many electrons have been gained or lost. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So there are two types of ions that can form. The first is called a cation, and cations are positive charged ions, and they form whenever an atom gives or loses electrons. So metals, which give away their electrons, will become more positive, and their positive charge will be equal to the number of valence electrons that it had. So here's a lithium atom. Neutral lithium has three protons, one, two, three positive charges in the nucleus, and three electrons, one, two, three. This is neutral because there are three positive and three negative, so it has no charge. Lithium has one valence electron and will give that valence electron away. When it does, it becomes a cation, and lithium now has a positive 1 charge. So we're going to write next to the symbol a little plus sign with the number 1. It is positive because lithium still has three positive charges, but since it gave one electron away, it now only has two negative charges. So it has one more positive than negatives. Now, anions are the opposite of cations. They're negatively charged, and they form when an atom gains electrons. Nonmetals will become anions and become negative. And the charge on a nonmetal is the number of electrons it takes to get to 8. So here's fluorine. Fluorine, when it's neutral, has 9 protons and 9 electrons. It has 0 charge. If it gains 1 electron, we'll write its symbol with a -1 charge, because now it has 9 protons and 10 electrons, so it has one more negative charge. So ionic bonding happens between cations and anions. And next, we'll see how these charges come together.